Hey everyone, welcome back to the third and final episode of Ultimate Racing 2D AI 2019 F1 Championship. We're heading into the final one, so let's take a quick look at the standings. You'll see that Bottas is trunting away, and I don't know what trunting is, but it's, I was going to say trundle and rumping, of which that word is neither. But anyway, he's well clear of Verstappen, Vettel and Leclerc. Hamilton down in 6th now, having a torrid season. Terrible tyre choices, basically, is ruining his season. Perez best of the rest, ahead of the two McLarens. Ricciardo. Raikkonen punching above his weight. Albon 2, slightly, as is K-Mag when it all works well. And then on the constructors, it's less clear-cut because Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari are all kind of still in it. Battle for 4th between Racing Point and McLaren is strong. And the battle for 7th, potentially just for 8th, between Haas and Toro Rosso, also strong. So let's see how we go. We're off to possibly my least favourite F1 circuit on the current calendar. Russia. Even the turn 3 on this version is not fabulous, but Leclerc well out front. Oh, it's just soulless. It makes me angry every time I see the circuit. I like that bit at the end, and that's about it. But Leclerc grabbing a juicy pole position quite nicely. Well clear then of Hamilton, Vettel and Bottas down in 4th. That'll be interesting. Is this going to be the start of a flop back? Oh, no, juicy lot down at the bottom of the top 10 there. Perez, Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Grosjean, and then Sainz. So 5 different constructors, 6 if you include Gasly, in a row there all together. So that's great. Giovinazzi, Ocon, Norris down in 14th. Not a grand day at the office for him. Not good for Toro Rosso there either. But well done Grosjean in the top 10 for Haas. And it's wet to begin with, which means that there's going to be no clear-cut advantage for anyone in this soggy season. Leclerc leads the way, but Hamilton's trying to go round the outside at turn 3. Oh, it's not kind of worked. Well, it has, but it hasn't. Oh, look at Vettel scraping through as well. Bottas down to 6th. This is exactly what the championship needs, quite frankly. But we'll see how we go. Perez then leads the Group B teams. Ooh, and that was problematic for Hamilton, getting pushed out, as is, I was going to say Gasly, and that's kind of backed everyone off. And look at Bottas there now, back down into 6th. Oh, Verstappen gets it horribly wrong, as does Hamilton. It's all about not kind of getting it right, isn't it? Everyone else screaming through. Grosjean still holding his own in 12th. Sunshines are coming. But is it coming quick enough for Leclerc to get enough of a lead up whilst it's running nicely on the wet tyres? Gasly gets through into 2nd ahead of Vettel. Verstappen in between the Mercedes. Sainz ahead of Perez, Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Norris. Grosjean's holding up Ocon and Hulkenberg by the looks of it, and Kvyat, who's having a little bit of an ascension. Ocon gets it wrong, as does Albon in the background. And look, they're all trying to get round the Haas driver, who's dropping backwards down the field. Still too wet. Ooh, Kvyat being very harsh on Grosjean. Let's move up front and see what's going on here. And that's because Hamilton, momentarily, was ahead of Vettel. Not for long. Bottas still down in 6th place. Not really working out well for him, as the field sorts themselves out. At least a little bit. I don't know if anyone will be in this lap or not. I'd probably wait one more, judging by the way how it's kind of pulling off, and that's exactly what Leclerc is thinking. But if I was further down the field, I would be less inclined to do so. Bottas the last one then to go round on the dry. No, Ricciardo's going round again. I'd be less excited with that. to Sainz. First one onto the tyres that he wants, and they're going soft. Raikkonen hard. Hard for Hülkenberg. Soft for Albon, hard for Kvyat, soft for Grosjean. I think that could work out nicely for Albon and Grosjean if they get through quickly, and indeed Albon does. Kvyat does too. Russian on home soil, wanting a good result. It's been a bit of a sort of off season for him. As here comes everyone else into the pits. Leclerc, hard tyres. Oh, that might not go down well. Hamilton on soft, Gasly hard, Vettel soft, Verstappen soft, Sainz soft, Bottas hard. Interesting. He's throwing away his championship lead somewhat, down to 8th position now. There's Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Grosjean, Norris and Albon, Kvyat, Giovinazzi, Ocon gets past Hülkenberg. K-Mag, the two Williamses are out on soft tyres as well. And there is the field sorting themselves out nicely. Leclerc under attack by Hamilton. Hamilton's not won, I think, this season, has he? If he has, it was right at the very beginning, but Hamilton bursts into the lead in what is looking like his best race so far from Leclerc. Gasly's under attack from Verstappen. Verstappen needs to get back on song with Bottas and co. And as Bottas falls further off the pace, clinging onto the back of Perez, Ricciardo's coming with him, but as Norris gets past Grosjean, I don't think Norris and Ocon are going to be able to penalise Bottas. And in fact, Bottas now ahead of Perez. Shows a lot there as Gasly trying to hold up Verstappen. It's not really how it should be working in that Red Bull camp. This is not helping Verstappen. All it's doing is helping Charles Leclerc, who is in hard tyres, and making hay, whilst everyone else squabbles behind. Hamilton leads the way though. And there you can see Vettel now gets past Hamilton too as they start lapping the Williamses of Kubica and Russell. Russell a little bit further up the field actually. Not a million miles off of Magnussen, which is a good show for half distance. So that's Leclerc now under attack by Verstappen, and through goes Verstappen very easily. He just needs to make sure he keeps it, which it looks like he's going to do because Leclerc's under attack from Vettel. Who should also go through relatively quickly, and look at how nicely he does do it. Verstappen's been wrong-footed by Russell, and Leclerc gets back past. And that is the problem with the drama here. Bottas now ahead of Carlos Sainz as well, as those soft tyres start to fall off a little bit. It's Ricciardo who's got round Perez. Norris, Ocon, Grosjean. Raikkonen ahead of Albon. There's Hülkenberg being lapped by Hamilton. Giovinazzi and Kvyat next. There's Magnussen causing issues potentially for Leclerc. Yeah, Hamilton well clear. Now what's he going to do in terms of his tyres? Grosjean's in. He goes on to hards. Is Hamilton going to do the same? No, Hamilton does softs again for 10 laps. As does Verstappen. Now the key here is that he needs to make this kind of work for him. Look at how congested this section of the track is. There's Sebastian Vettel blocked in by Grosjean. Hamilton gets round the outside. He's got to deal with Kvyat getting absolutely mullered by several drivers there, as Albon's in as well as Vettel, and he's back in the lead as Lewis Hamilton. There's Leclerc going through. Verstappen up into 3rd place, of course on his soft tyres. Gasly on hards. There's Bottas on hard tyres up into 6th now. Sainz having pitted, as has Ricciardo and Perez, Norris and Ocon. So Hamilton's going to struggle to lap those a little bit more. I think Grosjean might have made a bit of a mistake going onto hard tyres. If he would have stayed out just a lap longer, I think the softer ones would have been a better variety for him. And you'll see that with Albon, I think, coming up on the back of the Haas driver later on. So here's Hamilton. Being mirrored by Ocon. Of course, they've all just pitted. Albon getting past Raikkonen. Or is he? Just off the screens, doesn't look like he is. But watch out for all of these hard tyre drivers. I think they'll make a pit stop in the next lap or so. As Verstappen takes the lead. This is the problem. Hamilton not able to get round Ocon. Verstappen does. And this is perfect for Verstappen in his championship challenge. And what was an amazing lead by Lewis Hamilton has just come to naught again. What has happened to Lewis Hamilton this season in this game? I've given him... He's in the best car and he's got the best driver stats. And yet he keeps ending up 6th all the time. So, bizarre. Vettel there in 3rd, closing him down as well. There's Leclerc. And in comes, there you can see Raikkonen's in. And there you can see Bottas in soft tyres, down in 9th place. But he's going to be all over Ricciardo and Perez very quickly on those new tyres. So I imagine he'll dispose of those quickly. And I imagine he'll probably get Sainz as well. Gasly's on new softs, so he's not going to be catchable, I think. Grosjean, Russell and Kubica, the only ones on hards. Yeah, look, Hamilton just losing out to Verstappen so easily. Vettel in 3rd. He's got better tyres than Hamilton, but I don't think he's going to make quite as much of it. Could come down to a very last minute thing. Leclerc in 4, new tyres. Gasly 5 new tyres. That's Ricciardo trying to hold off Bottas. They've already got round Perez, who's had a torrid time there somewhere. But Ricciardo up into 7th, having a great day himself. Don't know if Bottas is going to... No. Straight through for Valtteri. This is good for him in his championship. Whilst Verstappen is up front. Ricciardo using the slipstream effect perfectly to get himself back ahead and into 7th. Got Giovinazzi and Kubica up ahead to lap. And signs that they're reeling in 6th place. And this is crucial for McLaren because with Norris battling Ocon further back, that little battle for 4th in the Constructors going to be very key. And that's Hamilton in trouble with Vettel. I wondered if Vettel would be able to make something of it. And he has. But it's the last lap. And I don't think he's going to have enough time to do it. But Verstappen, 2 seconds clear, having an absolute field day as Perez continues to fall backwards. In 9th, behind Kevin Magnussen with new soft tyres. Or newer soft tyres. Verstappen is going to win. Oh, that works out well for Hulkenberg. But Verstappen wins. Hamilton kept on to 2nd ahead of Vettel. Leclerc closed them right down. Then it was Gasly. Bottas ends up 6th, so it was a good recovery from what looked like a torrid time. Well clear of Ricciardo. I don't know what's happened to those lot towards the back. They've really gone off the cliff. Then it's Carlos Sainz just beating home. In 8th, Perez and Norris ahead of Ocon and Albon. Grosjean, one of his better runs into 13th. Ahead of the 2 Alphas. Hulkenberg, not worked out well again for him, nor for Kvyat, and it was looking good for him earlier on. Magnussen, too many pit stops. Russell and Kubica nowhere near. So that's kind of helped Verstappen close in on Bottas somewhat, and it kind of confirms that if you just have a bad run of a couple of races, this could swing and round about any which way. Hamilton beating home Gasly helps him get back ahead of the Frenchman into 5th position in the Drivers' Championship. Leclerc was behind Vettel, so that increases their gap. You kind of have to say it's probably a 3-horse race if you include Vettel still there. Elsewhere, Albon now equal on points with Hülkenberg, bizarrely. And it's still close everywhere. 1 point now between Haas and Toro Rosso. You have to kind of say that Alfa Romeo is probably okay in 7th. And just 10 between McLaren and Racing Point. As we head off to a track that I ideally wish was still on the calendar. Malaysia. Much missed. Kevin Magnussen off to a good start in the Haas. We'll see if that keeps going later on. Daniel Ricciardo doing an absolute stonker in the Renault. Where's this come from? Great stuff. Vettel out front though. He wants to make sure he stays in this championship hunt. Are we going to get Daniel Ricciardo on pole? No! In an alternative universe, Daniel Ricciardo's on pole for Renault. I don't know where this game gets its stats and weirdness from, but screw it. We're going with it. Ferrari 2-3, Mercedes 4-5, Bottas ahead of Hamilton, Verstappen then behind. So Red Bull Racing Point, Red Bull Racing Point. The two Alphas, 10 and 11, Giovinazzi ahead of Raikkonen. So McLaren having a bad day at the office, 13th and 14th, exactly when they don't want to. And a fine day at the office for George Russell, 16th on the grid. Wow, equal time with Albon as well, so interesting stuff. Hülkenberg again, torrid times. Same with Grosjean. Kvyat at the back with Kubica. So, Ricciardo soft tyres, Leclerc hard. Daniel Ricciardo leads the race. Look at Bottas on the soft tyres. He knows exactly what's what. He needs to make sure that he keeps Verstappen and Vettel behind, but Leclerc on hard tyres is making it difficult, as is Ricciardo, because that Renault really shouldn't be there. And there's Vettel going round the outside of Ricciardo. Bottas goes to the inside. Leclerc can't hold off everyone with hard tyres, can he? As Ricciardo clings on to the back. But it is Bottas that reaches the front ahead of Ricciardo and Verstappen. Leclerc's hard-tyred Ferrari drops down to 4th. Now 5th as Vettel gets through as well. Raikkonen's made a fantastic start. Sainz, Gasly, Hamilton's dropped right back. Perez struggling with Ocon, considering they're on different tyre compounds. Albon's had a torrid time, dropped right the way down to 19th. And here we are, Verstappen versus Bottas. This is very much championship battle on. Ricciardo holding up Vettel. Raikkonen has got round, and Sainz has got round Leclerc now as well. And it's going to rain. Well, that is going to help Leclerc. Well, it's going to help everyone that's on hard tyres. There's quite a lot actually. I didn't realise how many there were. So into the pits with the rain comes Bottas, Verstappen, Vettel, Ricciardo, Raikkonen. I don't know why. I don't know how Raikkonen has managed to do that. Oh, and that's gone horribly wrong in the pits for Ricciardo. That's let Leclerc get through. Hamilton 11th. Just typical of his season, really. Russell gets out in 17th ahead of Grosjean, Albon and Kubica. But look, Bottas back in the lead. It's in these kind of conditions where it's all changing around that Bottas seems to really thrive. And then it's when things kind of click themselves back together that Verstappen then gets the run. And then Vettel seems to just kind of be there. Raikkonen up into 4th ahead of Gasly, Leclerc, Ricciardo down to 7th now after being on pole. That's Hamilton getting past Giovinazzi. Excuse me for the cough. And look at this juicy battle up front. Bottas retakes the lead again. Little mini clear gap. It's a trio up front. Raikkonen holding off Gasly. Ricciardo back ahead of Leclerc. Sainz, Perez, Hamilton, Giovinazzi. Kevin Magnussen in 12th ahead of Ocon. That's Hulkenberg being overtaken by Kvyat. The Toro Rossos do like the rain. Now, are we pitting for dries? We are if we are Bottas and Vettel. We aren't if we're Verstappen, and I think that's a mistake. Unless we're going to get some rain incoming again very quickly. And there's a difference of tyre strategy. Bottas has gone hard. As has Gasly, as has Leclerc and Sainz, Perez and Hamilton. Most have gone hard, actually. This feels strange. Hulkenberg onto softs. We'll watch his progress down in 15th place. Russell as well in 17th. Albon and Kubica have gone for it as well. I think Verstappen will lose out in the pits. Not by nearly as much as I thought he would. And look at Kimi Raikkonen in the Alfa Romeo. He's going to take second. Clearly loving these conditions. It's Vettel and Raikkonen. But not in the teams that they used to be. Battling out front for the win. What world are we on? Bottas down to 4th now on his hard tyres. Ricciardo stayed in the softs as well, which is good for him and for Renault, as everyone else battles away. I mean, tyre wear is high here, so they can see Hulkenberg now moves up into 13th with his soft tyres, so it's working for him at the moment. We'll have to see if it works long term. Norris there, only 15th. McLaren's not having a great day at the office on his regard. Lap 10, there's Vettel. Verstappen now ahead of Raikkonen. He's starting to drop back. And that's Ricciardo struggling a little bit with Bottas for 4 and 5. I was going to say, what was that going on? That was Albon getting past Romain Grosjean. Next up for him, George Russell in the Williams. Having a good day as Norris gets round Daniel Kvyat. Kvyat was running well in the wet. No longer now though, as Verstappen pops a lap on Roberto Kubica. If Raikkonen can keep this up. It depends on what they do on their second stop. Are they going to basically kind of double bubble it? The pit lane loss here isn't horrific. Sainz keeping Hamilton behind him. Hamilton only 9th. This season has been a mess. And there you can see Russell. It's a slipstream that can kind of help you suck up onto the background this Malaysian circuit, and then depending on how you do, you can do something like that with George Russell getting past Daniel Kvyat. That Williams, depending on its strategy, could well outscore a couple of people here today. Several seconds ahead of Grosjean. Kubica's at the back. And here's Vettel and Verstappen leading the way on their soft tyres. And they've got Albon and Kvyat having a squabble, and that's allowed Verstappen through. Round the outside, as you can see, 7 to 11 laps. So it's a short, heavy tyre run. Oh, Vettel really making a massive job of trying to lap Kvyat. I think it's because it's at this point that the hard tyres are starting to be probably a little bit better now. And you can tell because look, Bottas and Gasly have got past Raikkonen. It's because they're battling with Kubica. Raikkonen, their hard tyres, has been in the pits. That's why. So Raikkonen came in, went on to hards. And yet, I have to agree, Verstappen and Vettel doing the right thing. They've gone on to softs. Russell's gone on to hards. I think that will put pay to him being anything other than 19th now. But real differences of opinion. So Verstappen and Vettel, you could, in theory, try and crab it home. But I would do another stop for soft tyres and just absolutely rinse them dry. Use all of the available stuff. Albon in. Is he going to go onto hards? No, he stays on softs. I kind of agree with that, especially if you're at the back anyway. Hulkenberg's done the same for the Renault. So I think they'll force stop. And look at that, the difference between how Norris took that corner and how Hulkenberg could. There's Gasly under attack by Danny Ricciardo. And that's because Ricciardo's on new hard tyres, Gasly's on old. And there's Bottas just behind, he's on old softs as well. I don't think Danny Rick wants to or needs to pit again, if he can help it. It might be that everyone just does one more pit stop. It depends on how they play it out. But Bottas in 6th and Verstappen up front. Admittedly, here's Gasly and Bottas in. Now, that should be soft tyres, really, shouldn't it, for both? Yep. Leclerc and Hamilton doing the same. Carlos Sainz in. Soft tyres. Perez in 10th. Soft tyres. Giovinazzi was 11th. He'll go soft tyres. And there you can see Hulkenberg now up to 11th. Remember, he was 15th before all of this kicked off. And that's Lando Norris. He's going to go one lap longer. This has not been a good day at the office for Lando. As Raikkonen pops him a lap down. Ocon next. New soft tyres. He'll be through like a bolt. Albon as well. And here's a battle for the lead. Vettel versus Verstappen. And Verstappen gets it. They're trying to get round Perez, who's in 10th place, having a good run, on new soft tyres. And this is the problem. These guys are now on old tyres. If I was them, I would pit, because Raikkonen's in 3rd. On relatively new hard tyres, bizarrely. That could work out alright for him, to be fair. Gasly and Ricciardo, Bottas, Leclerc, Hamilton, they should all come running for Kimi. But I'd pit. I think they're going to lose so much time. Will they do it? Or will they risk it and go to the end? Because look, that's Grosjean getting through, unlapping himself. No, they're going round again. Perez is trying to unlap himself. It's not working. They're just all holding themselves up. We've seen this time and again in this championship. Pit. Just keep pitting. And there we go. Perez gets through. And now you can see the crossover has happened too much now. And Perez is through. Grosjean's going to get through as well and unlap himself. And he's 19th at the moment. And look, this squabble, this is really helping, because look, Gasly's got past Raikkonen and he's closing right down. Bottas will be doing the same very shortly. And Romain Grosjean and Sergio Perez are basically changing the shape of this race. Let's look at Gasly steaming through and in. Bottas steaming in on Raikkonen. Leclerc following. Ricciardo down to 7. Hamilton not having a great day either. I find this bizarre. What this has also done for Grosjean is it's stopped him being able to close down George Russell, who is in 18th. He's just dropped behind Danny Kvyat, but somehow he's managed to keep those hard tyres running better, and that's problematic for Vettel. That's dropped him out from behind Verstappen. Thank the Lord for blue flags. That's Raikkonen losing out to Bottas. Bottas, these last couple of laps have really worked in his favour. Ricciardo still ahead of Hamilton, back up front. Final lap now for Max Verstappen, and he just needs to kind of keep it vaguely clean against Perez and Grosjean. They've stayed ahead. It's going to be closer than it ought to be, so it's been the right decision to stay out, but wow. Crazy stuff there. Max Verstappen wins the Grand Prix, exactly what he needed. Vettel second, exactly what he needed for his championship as well. Gasly third. Bottas ends up into 4th. After all of that, Raikkonen a stunning 5th for the Alfa Romeo team. Leclerc 6th. Hamilton gets past Ricciardo towards the end there for 7 and 8. Sainz ahead of Perez. Giovinazzi is going to be 11, so that's a great day for the Alfa Romeo team. Ocon down in 12. His blush is spared by the fact that he beat home Hulkenberg and Norris. Excuse me. So that actually works out, I think, better for Racing Point than it does for McLaren by a point. K-Mag best Haas in 15. The Toro Rossos weren't able to capitalise on early good form, particularly in the hands of Kvyat. Grosjean did get round Russell on the last lap to get 18th. So Russell not able to beat home that. And look at how quickly it's changed. Bottas now only just ahead of Verstappen. Vettel clinging on in there. Leclerc, Gasly and Hamilton squabbling over 4, 5 and 6. The McLaren boys on equal points, Norris and Sainz. Ricciardo just behind him as well. Hulkenberg reaches the 100 mark. You'd expect Albon probably to do that next round. And that's looking very close in the constructors as well. Mercedes and Red Bull, 11 points between them. Same for Racing Point and McLaren. Still only 1 point between Haas and Toro Rosso. All to play for. Off to Japan next. And it's a soggy quali. Look at Leclerc go. Great run. McLaren looking quite decent as well at the moment as they make their way round. This tricky lap. Lots of skidding to be done. But they're over the line. Leclerc gets the pole from the Mercedes of Hamilton and Bottas. Vettel, Verstappen 5. Ricciardo best of the rest in the end there, 6th. I thought it was going to be a McLaren, but Ricciardo got it. Both McLarens in the top 10. Perez just rounding that out. Albon 13th. I think we'll be pleased with that. A 3-second deficit. Kubica off the back. Not his finest quali. And we're wet for the start as well. And this is going to be crucial because it negates all of the tyre strategies. Look at them smashing their way through. Again, argy-bargy, but it's Hamilton that pops out to the front ahead of Leclerc. Bottas gets ahead of Vettel and Verstappen just about. Is Verstappen going to do it? Oh, as Leclerc makes a right boo-boo. That allows everyone through. Now, lots of people end up in the gravel on the outside of turn 1. I think I saw Giovinazzi do it on the tracker in the background. But you've got to be so careful because you lose so many places because you just get batted and batted and batted out there. So Hamilton leads the way. It's starting to dry off, but it's very soggy on the track. Vettel and Gasly holding off Ricciardo, and Norris is doing another good run behind. Oh, and they shuffle Gasly back. Gasly losing out horrifically as through went Ricciardo, Sainz and Perez. They're now making their own mistakes, letting Gasly back through. Albon up to 11th, doing a good run. Again, Toro Rosso in the wet. Punching slightly above its weight. This is working out nicely for Hamilton, but we've said this so many times this season. It starts off okay, or he's having to recover from something, and then it all kind of falls apart. But could this be the place where Hamilton finally gets the win? Ooh, Ricciardo having a good run at Perez. Didn't quite work though. And it's going to be more rain, so that will save the blushes of everyone. Wet tyres do last long, as Raikkonen's about to lose out to Ocon. Kvyat there as well, up to 13th. Grosjean in 11th, having a good run of things. So the Toro Rosso Haas battle looking juicy, and that's Leclerc losing out to Bottas. Bottas trying to get his championship lead extended as he focuses in on Verstappen ahead. Hamilton well clear by a couple of seconds. He just needs to keep that going whilst it stays rainy, and that will work out nicely. Perez there ahead of Vettel. Norris is in on it as well. Vettel needs to basically pull himself out and get clear so that it makes that top six the true top six. Norris there takes a look at Perez. Lando going all the way out round the outside. Kicked onto the dirt and then hit by Ricciardo, and that leapfrogs him through. Nice teamwork making the dream work for McLaren. Ricciardo then gets round Perez too. Must feel a little bit bullied after all of that. Sainz, Grosjean still running well in 11. That's Raikkonen having a go at Daniel Kvyat as the track now fully wet and it's still pouring down with rain on lap 7, and that's Raikkonen getting through. And that's Russell and Giovinazzi battling over 18th and 19th. Giovinazzi must have been off the track again, because that shouldn't really be. There's Hamilton. He's been closed down, isn't he, by Verstappen and Bottas now that they're in clear air again. So Bottas pushing Verstappen forward into Hamilton. Of course, 30 points for the win in this series. Leclerc, Gasly, Vettel, Norris clear of Ricciardo and Perez, who are squabbling away. That's allowed Sainz to get involved in this little duo battle. And there is Sainz going straight past Danny Rick, who seemed to be off song going round that corner. And there's Sainz getting back around Perez. He's doing what Norris tried to do a little bit early, but he's gone the wrong way about it, I think. Yeah, he'll get pushed out. Oh, and Ricciardo. Whew. He helped Norris through, then he helped himself. The rain's starting to ease off as we're starting to run into the points where tyres are going to be tricky to deal with in the wet conditions. It's got a long window, lap 12 to 17. But since it's staying wet, Giovinazzi having a poor run. As is Hulkenberg, he's behind Magnussen. Ocon's not having good fun either, because Raikkonen and Kvyat are ahead. And here we go, it's going to start becoming dry soon, so this is going to be interesting to see how it works. Grosjean and Albon doing my favourite midfield runs as Hamilton pops a lap on Kubica, but Bottas has got past Verstappen. Verstappen gets it back and then makes a mistake. These tyres are going to be skiddy as all hell. And it's going to be tricky now. Do you try and hold off on the wet tyres until it becomes dry enough to switch? Do you try and go early? If you go early and it's going to rain, is that going to compromise you a bit? I would stay out another lap or two if I could help it. Bottas going down the inside of Verstappen. This is going to be tricky through the S's, both onto the grass and dirt. And that has helped Bottas no end. Up into second and ahead of his championship rival Verstappen. There's Leclerc, Gasly and Vettel side by side for 5th. Wet weather. Drying out now. I still wouldn't come in just yet though. Oh, Sainz does just that. He's the first one from what was 10th place, battling with 9th, and that's the problem. They've come in and they've gone straight onto wet tyres, and actually that could well work nicely for him and for Albon, because they've come in at a perfectly opportune time. Now that we know that everyone's in trouble, so it's coming for rain, no one else is coming in. A few others have, Giovinazzi, Russell, but the tyres are only going to be a lap or two better. This could work out nicely for several people. And that's why it's going to be dry soon. But it's now changing to wets. So they're all coming in and switching onto wet tyres at the wrong time. Sorry, I'm spazzing out with the fingers. Leclerc went round again. Still not pitted. Gasly hasn't, but Hamilton has. And here we are. Wet tyres then for Gasly. Magnussen's on new tyres as well. Surely, I mean, Grosjean has not pitted, Albon has. I'm just looking at the people who have and haven't. And they're in this time, right? But it's too late. They're having to come back in for wets again. That has not worked out well for any of those people that have done that. Unless they try and eke it out and go on to softs, which is exactly what Daniel Ricciardo's tried to do. Oh, I think that's a bit early for Danny Rick. Let's see what's happened with him. Yeah, look at the state of it. He'll lose all of his... Yeah, it's seconds that he's losing. Grosjean's done the same. It's a short loss, but it's a loss. As in comes Perez and Sainz. This is the time to go for it. Albon in as well. This has worked out beautifully for Alexander Albon and Daniel Kvyat. As there's Grosjean. Yeah, look, 15th. It's not worked out well for him at all. Everyone should be on the softs. And here's our leaders, Verstappen and Hamilton, after the pit stops. Hamilton has lost out yet again in the second phase of the race. And look, they're struggling with Grosjean to basically let him through and go round. They've got better tyres. I don't understand why this is a battle in any way, shape or form. But Hamilton, just Bottas steams through. So the championship leaders back out onto their own, battling for the lead. That's, of course, where the biggest discrepancy of points is. 30 versus 25. Ocon next up to be lapped in 14th. Another not fabulous day at the moment for the Racing Point Frenchman. And that's Hamilton waking up. Gets past Verstappen. He could have done with a Gasly in there to try and help him out a bit. Gasly down in 6th today. Battling with Vettel. And the Ferraris just don't quite seem to be on the same level of these main trio up front. So, Bottas leads. Hamilton second. There's Verstappen trying to get back through on Hamilton. He's going to block him in behind Ocon and Kubica. But Hamilton. Beautifully done. And there we go. Verstappen just says, that's fine, I'll use slipstream and boost. And he goes from third to first. Around 2 corners, and then he's going to lose it again, isn't he? Yep. Oh, it's so close. Up front, onto the grass, and that's allowed Hamilton through. Some good battles up and down the field, actually. Gasly still battling with Vettel as Bottas takes the lead. Hamilton's going to try and hang it on around the outside. Nicely done. He's going to need to watch how he deals with Raikkonen, though, in the Alfa Romeo, running 13th. Gets out of the way, but not before Verstappen takes the lead back again. With Hamilton second and Bottas down in third, out of that trio, that is exactly what helps Verstappen. Hamilton wants this win. It's good to see. He's a bit more feistier today. How he deals with the Toro Rossos. Oh, well, Kvyat basically throws himself off the track like a sacrificial lamb. But it's Alexander Albon who's going to be the potential problem here. As Verstappen takes the lead. Again, Hamilton just waiting too long to try and boost and get through. Verstappen much more aggressive, diving through and gets it. And he's going to take the win, and this is going to make big changes for the championship. Because he wins, Hamilton second, Bottas down to third. Leclerc is going to get fourth, who's kind of all on his own. Vettel keeps ahead of Gasly for 5 and 6. Norris best of the rest in 7. Didn't focus too much on him, but a great race Perez into 8, Ricciardo grabs 9, Sainz 10. A great day for Toro Rosso. That is Kvyat and Albon 11 and 12. Which order will they come in? Albon didn't quite like it there. He was ahead the lap before, wasn't he? But a good day at the office for Toro Rosso. That should see them leapfrog Haas. Then it's Raikkonen, Ocon, Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Hulkenberg. A torrid second half of that race. Don't know what happened there. Same for Magnussen. Russell actually ran quite well. Kubica too. So that now brings the gap down to just 5 points between Bottas and Verstappen. Amazing. Vettel kind of a distant third, still relatively in it with 4 rounds to go. And then you'd have to say Leclerc, Hamilton and Gasly are now pretty much out of it, aren't they? Perez, Norris, Sainz, Ricciardo. What other changes have we got down here? Albon ahead of Hulkenberg again. And that little squabble. And what you'll also see, Racing Point are now only 5 points behind McLaren because Ocon doesn't seem to have had a good run of results. And Toro Rosso leapfrog Haas because they don't seem to be able to have a good run of results either. Interesting. Muraka next. Oh, it's a wet qualifying. What a shock. So, Seb Vettel leading the way here. Not for long. Leclerc now reaches to the forefront. But there seems to be a Ferrari loving. Hamilton right behind. McLaren looking decent as the best of the rests. Or is it? No, it looks like Ocon may have made up for his poor run of reform lately. Indeed he does, to go 7. But it's a Ferrari front row lockout. The Mercedes on the second row, the Red Bulls on the third. Racing Point McLaren, Racing Point McLaren. That's probably the best, most representative we've had of the championship so far. Raikkonen beating the 2 Renaults. 2 Haases and 2 Toro Rossos, nose to tail. Giovinazzi at the back, ahead of the Williamses. And wow, Vettel on hard tyres, as is Ocon, Hulkenberg, excuse me, Kvyat and Giovinazzi. And Vettel immediately pushed out of the way as Bottas tries to go for the lead against Leclerc. Did not work. But the fact that they've all pulled immediately clear of Vettel, who is just dropping backwards. And look, there's Verstappen. Oh, he's also on soft tyres. He's got round Vettel too, and he's now just got round Gasly. So that's crucial for Verstappen in his race, I think. He's got to watch out though, because there's Perez, there's Gasly, that's Norris getting through. Vettel dropping backwards like a stone. Sainz stuck behind Vettel. And that's Verstappen getting past Hamilton in the battle for the final podium slot. And that could become key and crucial. Because as those two battle away, that's allowing Leclerc and Bottas to get away up front. And it's drawing them into the Gasly-Norris-Perez battle behind. Norris there moving up into 5th place. And wow, that is going to save Vettel, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Kvyat and Giovinazzi's blushes. If there's going to be rain, here it comes. Everyone's in. And Ocon down in 15th. That's not going to help Racing Point. Kvyat and Giovinazzi at the back of the field, behind both Williamses. And look at everyone out and running, and that's Hamilton getting past Bottas as Leclerc enjoys a little bit of a lead of a second, but it's already being immediately eaten into by the Mercedes. Verstappen 4, Norris. They're going well. Raikkonen holding up Daniel Ricciardo, who's trying to go around the outside. It's a brave move, but he's done it. The 2 Hasses ahead of the 2 Toro Rosso's by quite a way, actually. Kvyat in the 0 points paying position at the moment. As Kubica and Russell enjoy a bit of pace in the Williamses. Let's just enjoy that for a second. Okay, what have we got? So it's starting to dry out already. Would you be in this lap? I think I would be. If it's not going to rain again immediately. Leclerc is not. Bottas and Verstappen are, though. As is Norris. What are they going on to? Hards or softs? Softs for the leading duo. In fact, everyone that's coming in onto softs until we get to Sainz. Vettel on hards. Magnussen's on hards. Hulk. Kubica. That might not work out well for him. But Leclerc and Hamilton, it's totally dry by the time they come in. And there you can see exactly the loss that's happened. Bottas and Verstappen well clear. Leclerc drops down to third and he's come out on hard tyres. There's Norris getting through. The hard tyred drivers do seem to drop a little bit faster than other tracks here, I've noticed. Multiple lines, I think. Seems to let others get through a bit quicker. As Gasly passes Ricciardo for 6th and 7th. Oh, Raikkonen having a dive bomb on Carlos Sainz, and it worked nicely for him. Grosjean up in 11th, having a good day at the office. K-Mag trying to hold off Ocon and Albon. Albon gets past Esteban Ocon's Force India. Christ. Racing Point. And then disposes of Magnussen's Haas as well for the time being. So got a little squabble going on there. Russell's got round Kubica. Kvyat's got round Giovinazzi in the battle for last with Kvyat and Kubica. But our leading championship duo out front and loving it. Leclerc keeping Hamilton at bay though. I'm impressed with Norris running in 5th. See how well that does. 8 to 12 laps the soft tyres work. 13 to 17 the hard. So it might just be that people switch and then have a go at the other tyre afterwards, but we'll soon see. That's Giovinazzi getting past George Russell for 17th. Kubica now down to last. Quite tight field though, because we're on lap 12 and no one's been lapped yet, so that's fun and interesting to note. More sun incoming. Gasly and Ricciardo again at it for 6th position. Ooh, Danny Rick kept his foot right in there. Norris, not far up the road, might not feel like he's particularly safe. And what's interesting for me is Charles Leclerc, despite being on hard tyres, not falling mega away, is he? And I thought he would have fallen further away than this by now, as Bottas tries to pop a lap on Kubica, does so, as does Verstappen. And here you can see Leclerc and Hamilton squabbling away. And that's Bottas into the pits for his 3rd stop, and that is soft tyres again. So he's going softs all the way to the end. That's quite early for softs to go all the way to the end. What's Verstappen going to do? Is he going to go 1 lap longer, 1 lap later? Obviously he's going to get the undercut. Is Bottas. As in comes Russell and Kvyat, basically ruining each other's pit runs. Yeah, look, Verstappen really losing out to Bottas. Now, that will be a cliff problem later on. But look, Hamilton not able to get round Leclerc. Bottas immediately speeds past the pair of them. I might not be in this time by, surely. Yep. Norris. He's got a watch Ricciardo. They've both been into the pits, as has Gasly. Gasly not having his finest hour. Perez, Vettel certainly not having his either. And this is basically saying curtains to his championship challenge, isn't it? Down in 9th. Battling with Kimi Raikkonen and Romain Grosjean, who's had a great run of things. And here comes the rain. Interesting. So that helps out the likes of Vettel and co. Magnussen, Hülkenberg and Kubica were the other ones. Hülkenberg again having a poor run of things in that Renault. But it is Bottas back out front. Look at Verstappen though, he's closed back into the back of him. This race ain't over yet. Hamilton's been dropped in 3rd. And obviously now with the different tyre strategies all kind of being null and void because of the wet weather. It's now just a pure pace drive to the line. As Bottas and Verstappen try to work their way on Giovinazzi and Albon. Giovinazzi was last at one point, now up to 14th, so that's a good recovery. And now the rain starting to fall away. Now, do you choose to pit or not? And will Verstappen do anything about Bottas? He hit him and now stuck behind Giovinazzi. Ooh, Albon. He quite fancied himself a 14th place, and that's at the cost of Max Verstappen's attack at the lead. Albon trying to unlap himself in that Toro Rosso. We know it's good in the wet. But there comes Verstappen, and this is crucial for the championship. He goes into the lead. Now, it's dry enough for dry tyres. I can see someone in the pits doing it. Will the leaders? They should do, really. Raikkonen in. Soft tyres, 9th place. Ocon, Grosjean. Yeah, look, no, they're all in. Oh, and Bottas has a much better pit exit entry. In. That's the first time I've seen that we could potentially have a race decided because of how something happened in the pit lane. Wow. Crazy stuff. And look, Albon just getting in the way for Verstappen. You're supposed to be sister teams. Oh dear. Hamilton then. Leclerc into 4. Norris in 5. Using the slipstream of the Ferrari to keep him in check. Then it's Gasly, Ricciardo, Perez, Raikkonen in the top 10 ahead of Vettel. Grosjean, best race of the season, 11. Sainz, Ocon, Albon, Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Hülkenberg, Kvyat, and Russell and Kubica. But, wow, 1 lap to go. It looks as though Bottas has got this one covered to help extend his championship advantage just about. But it is Verstappen who is keeping him honest. He's still within that slipstream. And they've got Ocon just ahead, Kubica just ahead of him. I don't think they'll play too much of a role in these last couple of corners. Verstappen's too far back. 5 stops for a lot of the teams in 25 laps. Crazy race, but Valtteri Bottas wins to stop the hemorrhaging of his championship lead. Verstappen 2nd, Hamilton on the podium for 3rd, Leclerc 4, Norris 5. That's Gasly getting back past Ricciardo at the last second for 6th and 7th. Perez will be 8. Is Raikkonen going to get 9? Just ahead of Vettel. who says goodbye to his championship challenge. Grosjean's best finish so far this season in 11. Then Sainz, Ocon, Albon, Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Kvyat, Russell and Kubica. And so that kind of bids farewell to Vettel's championship challenge. It is Bottas versus Verstappen with 3 to go. Wow. Leclerc 3 points ahead of Hamilton. Hamilton starting to come a little bit stronger in this last bit of the season. Maybe he can salvage fourth in the Drivers' Championship after all. Perez still ahead of Norris and Sainz. Ocon keeping ahead of Raikkonen at the moment. Albon staying ahead of Hulkenberg, who's really just had a complete shutdown, hasn't he? Magnussen still ahead just about of Giovinazzi. Grosjean ahead of Kvyat, who's just not performed this season. And as you can see, Toro Rosso staying ahead of Haas, but that gap has shrunk. And it's 2 points between Racing Point and McLaren. But look, McLaren are into fourth. Esteban Ocon needs to get some performances in to make sure that Racing Point get back into fourth. Or is it going to be the dream team of consistency at McLaren, making sure that they stay ahead? Mexico is our next man. Grosjean in fifth. What? There we go. Ferraris getting themselves up into the front four. And it's the Ferraris that could well make this championship be a very different affair to what it could possibly well have been. There's some surprising results there. So it's a Ferrari lockout on the front row again. Then the Mercedes again in the second and third spots. The Red Bulls again 5 and 6. Romain Grosjean is 7th. Beautiful. In fact, K-Mag's in 11th there for the Haas team. So they clearly want that 8th in the Constructors ahead of Toro Rosso back again. Racing Point 8 and 9. Not a good day at the office for McLaren compared to their nearest battlers. So good to see Ocon performing good again in quali. Alfa Romeo's further back. Renault, not a great day either. Not a good way for Toro Rosso there. Albon sandwiched between the two Williamses. They would have wanted better than that. And there's a mixture of tyre strategies up front. And the problem here is that Bottas is on soft and Verstappen's on hards. Leclerc leads the way though on hard tyres. Real mixture. Expect Ocon. Look at Grosjean there in 8th, still going well. Trying to find his way through as Sainz gets past Ocon and Grosjean behind the back. Seb Vettel then pulls clear. Hamilton gets ahead of Bottas. Then it's Gasly on hard tyres, who you'd kind of hope would try and make some kind of barrier with his teammate Verstappen. But Sainz gets through. Ocon's going to get through. That looks like Grosjean's going to try and get through as well. Ricciardo making his way up too. Great stuff from several drivers. Oh, Carlos Sainz taking unique racing lines. I think that would be classed as a cut, mate. But it pushes him momentarily into third. Hamilton gets back through again. Bottas down to 4. Ferrari 1-2. Leclerc on hard tyres running in second. Really surprising me here on lap 4. Those hard tyres go a long way. So we'll see how it runs. Bottas now battling with Carlos Sainz. That in blood gets him up into 4th place. McLaren really want that 4th place. Perez on home soil, but he's on hard tyres and he's down in 11th, battling with Danny Kvyat in the Toro Rosso, who's 18th in this Drivers' Championship. That's not where Perez wants to be. That's not where Norris wants to be. It could be that it's actually the secondary drivers that help decide what gets 4th in the Constructors' Championship. Albon behind Russell on their hard tyres. Kubica in 15th on soft rubber, showing exactly what pace can happen when you've got it right. As here comes Hamilton onto the back of Leclerc. Leclerc. And there's Bottas really struggling, really, with signs. Verstappen on hard rubber right behind, and that's crucial. Grosjean in 7, doing a fine job. Ocon and Ricciardo behind, then Gasly. And I wonder, you can see there, Verstappen trying to get some kind of slipstream on Sainz and Bottas to keep him in and around that Mercedes. And there you can see Hamilton into second place ahead of Leclerc. I think Verstappen quite fancies getting round Sainz. He does. Oh, they're holding each other up as they go side by side round the corners. Look at the way how Bottas is able to pull away. There we go. Verstappen through on lap 10. And that's because this is the soft tyres coming to an end. Leclerc versus Hamilton. Again, squabble squabble. Vettel 3.5 seconds up the road, and several cars as well, as you can see, all blocked there as Kubica, Hamilton into the pits. Leclerc goes round again. Vettel goes round again, interestingly, in the soft tired runs, busy battling with all that traffic and still leading the way. I think he'll be in this time. Yes, he will. What's he gone on to? Hamilton's gone out in softs again. Is that going to be what Vettel will do? Yes, he will. He stays on softs as Leclerc goes into the lead. I was going to have to overtake some drivers again, but look at how easy it is. And there's Hamilton getting round Verstappen. And there's Bottas, he's pitted, now in 7th place, all over the back of Carlos Sainz. No contest. Sainz was coming into the pits, but look at how quickly he then just recovers onto the back of Pierre Gasly. And this is crucial. All the points count. Can Gasly do anything to hold him back? No, he cannot. 2 Williams is next up. That's Kubica getting around Russell. Kubica with the better strategy. And there he is. Bottas straight onto the back of Verstappen. No contest at all as Albon gets out of the way. And look at him just steaming through everything. So there's Leclerc, lap 15. Soft tyres. So he's going to have better tyres than a few of the drivers around him. Daniel Ricciardo being one of them, who is running a superb 4th position. Not for much longer as Leclerc gets through. Ocon then up to 6th. Verstappen's 7th with his new tyres. And he'll be making hay whilst he can. Ooh, but will they? Because now it's time for the wet weather to come. And some have gone early. Magnussen, Raikkonen and Albon and Russell all into the pits for wet tyres. And everyone kind of following suit straight away. Where's Vettel? Did Vettel go round again? Yes, he did. Oh, he's right at the back of the queue. Look at that. He's right in traffic. Here's poor Seb Vettel. There he is. He's back out in the lead. Plenty of time over Hamilton. Bottas 3rd. Leclerc. Ricciardo saved there in 5th. As is Ocon in 6th. One of his better runs of the season, isn't it? Then Verstappen. Grosjean in 8, having an absolute field day. He's had several races this season where it's just not worked out for him. This one, it really has. Gasly's about to have him though, and I think that's key. Look at the way how Vettel is having to really struggle with the traffic. This is going to really help Hamilton close in. As look, Grosjean trying to unlap himself, and indeed he does. Oh, this is just an absolute cluster. And look, Vettel's not able to do anything about it, and Hamilton is right onto the back of him as they're dealing with the 2 Hasses. They're a lap apart. But Vettel now through. But look at how much easier Hamilton was able to get through that traffic. Gasly did get past Grosjean in all of that as well. He tries to unlap himself from Hamilton. The more that they do with that, the better for Vettel. There's Bottas, Leclerc, Ricciardo. 5th place. Can he have 4th in the Renault? Another mighty fine drive by the Australian. Verstappen, Ocon, all on his own. Then there's Gasly, that's Grosjean. With Carlos Sainz down in 10th. Sainz was running much higher up earlier in the race. Didn't quite work out in the pit stops, did it, for him? Then there's Raikkonen. There's Giovinazzi in 12th. Perez 13th. Starting on hard tyres before it went to wets. Not a grand look for him. Lap 25 though. People are in the pits for changes of tyres, Norris being one of them. I don't think that's supposed to have really worked. Vettel wins the race from Hamilton, Bottas. There's Leclerc. They're all coming in. Ricciardo, an excellent 5th. And that 6th for Verstappen is going to spell championship trouble for him, because that has pulled out a chunky ass gap. Grosjean's 9th there, superb. Kvyat in 11th though. Basically means that Toro Rosso don't lose out completely in that battle. But yeah, well done to Vettel winning the race. Hamilton ahead of Bottas, then Leclerc. Ricciardo, great effort. Ocon, a good effort for him in the Racing Point. That is exactly the kind of performance that they needed, because with Lando Norris down in 14th, that is going to swing right the way across for Racing Point. So, 2 to go. Verstappen's got it all to play for against Bottas, who may well be a championship winner at the end of the next round in Brazil. Then it's Vettel. Hamilton moves ahead of Leclerc. Gasly dropped now, pretty much 6th in the championship, isn't he? And Kevin Magnussen really losing out, actually, because that's allowed Hülkenberg and Giovinazzi and Albon all kind of to scamper away from him. So that's put him down to 16th, and that result for Grosjean basically pushes him into 17th in a battle properly, and moving him away from Kvyat. And that's also kind of helped out Mercedes there. Hamilton getting it together at a time when Red Bull falter slightly has put a 42-point advantage over Mercedes, so it's all kind of come all right at the night for them. Red Bull still got to be merry of Ferrari. Racing Point 4 points now clear of McLaren as the swings and roundabouts continue, and it's 3 points between Toro Rosso and Haas, despite that great run by Grosjean. Brazil, one of my favourite circuits of all time. How's everyone doing? Looking good for Leclerc. Also looking good for McLaren at the moment, with Norris and Sainz punching well above their weights and clinging on to that top 6. If anything, they're going to get Gasly. But it is Charles Leclerc there with a wonderful pole. And with Verstappen down in 5th and Gasly down in 7th, again Red Bull faltering towards the end of the season, and they've got a McLaren in between them. Of Norris, Racing Points 9 and 10. Grosjean 11th in the Haas. Haas coming good at the end of this season. A little bit at least in the hands of Grosjean. Toro Rosso's Albon 14th, trying to make sure that they don't scamper away with it. The Williams is right at the back, not having a good day. Oh, and this is juicy. Bottas and Verstappen on hard tyres. This could be crucial, and look at Hamilton steaming through. There's more on hards than there is on softs. And look, there's so many hard tyres, the soft tyre runners can't quite get through. Look, Norris even having a good go in the hard tyred run McLaren. There's Vettel, he makes a break for it into the lead, trying to pull away. Norris goes up into 3rd. Look at Raikkonen in the Alfa Romeo, having a great run of things. Ocon as well in the Racing Point, that could be crucial. But if Norris is doing so well on the hard tyres, it could negate it all. This is fascinating stuff. Gasly. So Bottas there down to 7. Verstappen now in 8th place. Grosjean on hard tyres as well in 9th, doing a fantastic job ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who seems to be just going backwards. Use your boost. Giovinazzi there trying to make progress on the soft-tyred Alfa Romeo. Quite what's happened to Carlos Sainz. He's on soft tyres and has been absolutely pummeled to the back of that pack. Toro Rosso in trouble as well. As look at that, Ocon into 2nd, Raikkonen into 3rd. Soft tyres 1, 2, 3. I mean, the durability of that soft tyre is horrendous, but it's got the pace if you've got the clear air to make it work. Gasly then, Leclerc, Bottas now into 6th. Make that a 5th as he gets round Leclerc. Verstappen stalking him along the way. As look at Kevin Magnussen trying to make amends for a couple of poor races. Up into 8th in that Haas. Giovinazzi doing the same. Hamilton down in 14th there briefly. Crazy. It's not even comparable to other things. Just look at Russell having a go at Sainz. Carlos Sainz is having a terrible time in that McLaren. And that is going to be absolutely key in the Racing Point battle for 4th. As look, with Sainz in 14th, Ocon is running 2nd. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Now, how are we going to deal with as they come in for pit stops? Vettel goes on. Is Ocon going on as well? Yes, he is. Ooh, look at Raikkonen. There we go. That's what I call a slipstream and a boost. No one in this time round, actually. Let's look at Bottas having to deal with Kevin Magnussen's Haas in the battle for 6th. And look, Verstappen's ahead, trying desperately to keep his championship chances alive. As Ocon pits. What's he going to go on to, I wonder? Another load of softs? No, hard tyres for Ocon. Interesting. Pops out in 5th place, but he's going to have a massive tyre advantage. Giovinazzi and Russell have also pitted and gone on to hards. There's Seb going round again. Kimi Raikkonen in again this time. So I'd be tempted to go soft. There we go. Raikkonen out in hards. And there he is back out ahead of Bottas and in between Bottas and Verstappen. And you can see Ocon with his tyre advantage does get past Verstappen. And there's Ocon. Raikkonen getting through. Daniel Ricciardo still yet to pit. 9th place. Vettel's pitted and rejoins in the lead just about ahead of Gasly. But he too is on hard tyres, so that should help him kind of pull away a little bit. I don't think Gasly will be able to do much of it. Ricciardo's pitted onto hard tyres too. So it's worked for the soft run drivers, I think. Bottas has fallen off the back of Verstappen there. Got to watch out for Charles Leclerc. Hunting him down. There's Lando Norris passing Hamilton. And there is Daniel Ricciardo losing out as he tries to get round Romain Grosjean, because Grosjean's trying to help Kevin Magnussen as well, who's doing this different stint. But Ricciardo into 10, Magnussen into 11. And they are closing down on Hamilton ahead. Norris, Perez, Sainz, who has now called clear of Raikkonen. There's George Russell, who's pitted for hard tyres. He's well clear of the Kvyat and Albon. Toro Rosso having a horrible race. which is, whilst Haas are having a great one, not going to be helpful at all. As we've got pitters. And there is Kimi Raikkonen moving past Pierre Gasly for second place in the race. And that's Ocon getting past Gasly for third. Is he going to get past Raikkonen for second? Yes, he is. This is crucial for Racing Point. Esteban Ocon coming good on a round that it really truly matters. Kimi Raikkonen doing wonders on that car. But look at everyone now out there on soft tyres. They're going to be loving it for the next, I would say, 7 laps or so, and then they're going to struggle right at the end. Verstappen's in. What did he go on to? Soft tyres, comes out behind Bottas, who stopped a lap early. Norris stopped a couple of laps ago. He will kind of fall back down again. Ricciardo, he's on the hards, doing the long haul. The Toro Rosso smothering poor old Gasly up ahead. But look, yeah, Bottas gets through. Norris gets through. Ricciardo slipping back. It's not quite worked out for him. It's not working out now for Ocon as Gasly steams through up into third position. This is going to hollow out though, because they've gone quite early to soft tyres, I think, and they might need another pit stop. And it could, I don't know if I would pit again if I was on the hard tyres like Vettel, Raikkonen and Ocon at the moment. I'm not sure, as that is Lewis Hamilton getting himself into 10th place past Carlos Sainz on soft tyres. There he is. Sainz on hards, Magnussen on hards in 12th. Grosjean's dropped down to 15th. He's on soft tyres behind Perez, but they're both well clear of the 2 Toro Rossos, who can't even get ahead of George Russell at the moment. He's running on used hards. I think that will come a cropper soon. Vettel 2 seconds clear. Oh, Grosjean there steaming past Giovinazzi. Soft tyres working their magic at the moment. And there you can see Pierre Gasly closing his ass right on iron. There's Raikkonen in third. Leclerc has got round Ocon. But look at how those tyres are starting to even out. Bottas ahead of Verstappen. This is a championship winning drive at the moment. Because look, he's got past Ocon. There he is, diving past Leclerc, using his boost to fantastic effect. Didn't need the slipstream on Hulkenberg. Used the boost and slipstream on Raikkonen now. And look, slam bank into third place. Magnificent. And it's that kind of thing that has helped Bottas get himself into the championship winning position. And Gasly's just done exactly the same thing on Vettel. This has not worked out for Seb. It looked like it was going to be a win. It's going to be Pierre Gasly at this rate. Here comes Bottas. Third place, still looking like a good podium. If he can get it. Leclerc's trying to do something to him, but it's not coming. And that's Raikkonen stuck behind Magnussen and Giovinazzi, and that's going to allow Verstappen through. That's his own teammate causing him problems there. Ocon still 7th, still a good run. Hamilton 8, Norris, Ricciardo and co. But here we are. Pierre Gasly 5 seconds up the road in those soft tyred Red Bull, having a great race. Here he is, he's crossing the line to get his first win of the season. Pierre Gasly wins for Red Bull. That's helpful for the constructors, actually. Vettel second, Bottas grabs third, Leclerc will get 4, Verstappen grabs 5, Kimi Raikkonen is going to lose out to Hamilton. That's crucial for the constructors for Mercedes Raikkonen down to 7. Ocon 8, but beats home Norris for 9. Ricciardo 10. Perez 11 is going to beat home Sainz, so this is good for Racing Point in their battle for 4th. Grosjean, a good run at the office. Same with K-Mags, who beat home the 2 Toro Rossos, who may have been on soft tyres towards the end, but they'd already lost too much early on. And whilst it's not confirmed, we are going to have to go down to the wire. There is 20 points between Bottas and Verstappen. Vettel will be 3rd no matter what. Leclerc 2 points ahead of Hamilton for 4 and 5. Gasly on his own for 6th. Kind of. Perez will be 7th no matter what. Norris, Ricciardo gets ahead of Sainz in all of that. Ocon 11. Kimi will be 12th pretty much no matter what. And look at Albon there now. Equal points with Hulkenberg. Giovinazzi just behind. Kevin Magnussen and Romain Grosjean both now over 100 points. I think they'll be pleased with that. Danny Kvyat won't be if he's the only driver who does not get over 100 points, who is not a Williams driver. 18 and 6 for Kubica. And what does that do for everything else? That pulls Racing Point ahead of McLaren again by 6 points. So very much all to play for. That's just a dodgy run for Perez or Ocon could seal the fate of that team's 4th place. And 3 points now. Haas move back ahead of Toro Rosso in the battle for 8th in the championship there. And Mercedes 32 points ahead of Red Bull. It's kind of all but done, but they could have a shocker. So, Flabby Dabby, the last one. Again, another bizarre, weird track that I've grown accustomed to over the years. I don't think it's terrible, but it's not my fave. And Hamilton in a class of 1 out front here at the moment. Ahead of Vettel and Verstappen. Bottas not having his finest quali form. Is that the championship pressure going to his head? Nico Rosberg explosions in the background. Perez doing his bit for Racing Point, very helpful there ahead of the 2 McLarens. Haas, Grosjean in 10, looking like he's going to try and saviour the day for the Haas team. Further back there, Renault's and co. So, it's dry. Almost everyone's on soft tyres, except for Vettel, who is busy holding everyone up. Into the hairpin. Look at Leclerc. He's going to get past Verstappen. Vettel holds up Bottas. Bottas goes around the outside. If he gets past, that's going to be a problem. Oh yeah, look, Vettel being pummeled down. Norris through. Perez through. Gasly through. Sainz is through. Fascinating. So Hamilton leads Verstappen. There's Norris up into 3rd briefly as they battle with Leclerc and Bottas. Norris through. Perez is going through as well. They're using a slipstream on Verstappen. Doesn't quite work out there for Lando, but McLaren trying to give a good fight to it. That's Sainz trying to get ahead of Vettel, because if they do and he can pull away, then that's helpful for him. Ricciardo, Magnussen, Hulkenberg and Ocon all in a squabble. Raikkonen making places as well. They're all on soft tyres, but they're squabbling with each other, and this Ocon there, the weak link of that little quartet. Grosjean on hard tyres has dropped down to 19th as he battles with Kvyat in the Toro Rosso Haas battle. Norris making a fine job of it in 3rd place ahead of Bottas. Remember, Bottas basically needs to be outside of the top 10 for anything to really change. So, sitting pretty in 4th, he doesn't need to be ahead of Verstappen, he just needs to not have an absolute doozy of a race. As there is Gasly going through on Leclerc. Just about. yeet those track limits. Sainz staying ahead of Vettel. Ricciardo having a nose. Didn't quite work. Oh, as Raikkonen gets it wrong, and that's going to allow Ocon to go through, surely, as Ricciardo gets past Vettel, then buggers it up. Last of the late breakers. Does it right that time. Raikkonen holds off Ocon. Magnussen versus Hülkenberg. Giovinazzi, Albon, Kubica and Kevin Magnussen, basically ensuring that Haas stay 8th in that championship. Trying to look at what's going on elsewhere, as Kubica now starting to try and pass Grosjean and Kvyat at the back of the field. Didn't quite work, and that is Grosjean getting back past Daniel Kvyat. He won't be making 100 points this season, will he? Oh, and that's Norris being crowded by Leclerc. He's okay though. Up into fourth. Of course, there's big points on offer here. And whilst he's ahead of several people, that's Hamilton in for hards. Bottas goes soft again, as does Gasly. I would say soft tyres are the way to go here, to be fair. That could be interesting. Who else is in? Anyone else? Yeah. Ocon goes hard tyres. Oh dear. Kvyat's gone hard. Magnussen's gone hard, sorry. As into the pits comes Max Verstappen from the lead. He stays on softs. Hamilton retakes the lead. Still on hard tyres. Look at that. Our championship duo again, nose to tail. But Verstappen sticks ahead, and he's got a lap's better tyres, but he's not going to get the slipstream that he needs. But with Hamilton now on hard tyres, he's going to have the pace to reel in the British Mercedes driver. Loving the tactics here. Norris on hard tyres. That's going to be tricky for him. Perez stayed on the softs. Vettel's yet to pit. Sainz went soft. And Ocon went hard. So differing fortunes in that battle for fourth. Albon there on soft tyres trying to do something in that Toro Rosso. As Grosjean's fallen off the back of the field. And look at how quickly Verstappen's able to close back in on Hamilton. Lap 11, and we're up to the Williamses to play with. That's Russell getting out of the way, yet to pit. Kubica has pitted. He's on soft tyres. And oh, hello, Valtteri! Doing his customary burning around of boost and slipstream. Juicy does it. Into the lead. Is he going to take his championship with a win, I wonder? Oh, Verstappen says something about that. I don't think so. And Hamilton keeping his nose in despite being on hard tyres. Great little trio. Next up's Grosjean to be lapped. Keeps himself out of the way. And it will be Daniel Kvyat who pops into the pits because he's one of those late ones to stop. Same with Roman. So whilst that's all good up front, that's Gasly versus Leclerc for 4 and 5 side by side, and I think Kubica might well cause a bit of an issue. He doesn't. Great for Leclerc. Bad for Gasly. That's Lando Norris. 6th place but on hard tyres, which is of interest. Perez in 7 on softs. Sainz 8 soft. Ricciardo 9 soft. And Kimi into 10. Hülkenberg 11, trying to round off his season on a better note. Vettel down in 12th on hard tyres though. He's gone hard. I think that's a terrible choice. Ocon then is 13 ahead of Albon and co. "25 laps, so you would kind of come in lap 16, lap 17 if you was going to go straight onto another set of softs again. I feel like we've gone too far on the softs for them to not do anything else. But look, Leclerc up into second. I don't know where that's come from. He was nowhere a few laps ago. And there we go. Into the pits comes Verstappen and Bottas, our championship duo. Letting Hamilton and co keep going. Both onto soft tyres, but they've got to do 9 laps with them. So Norris up into 5th, having a great run on that McLaren. So, up front, Hamilton leads the way on hard tyres, Leclerc on soft. You could, in theory, both kind of come in at slightly different times. I mean, Leclerc should be in this lap, you would think. Yep. Hamilton goes around again. Look at how quickly Verstappen is onto the back of him. It's that much of a difference. Ooh, lots of traffic. Albon Giovinazzi and Kevin Magnussen up ahead. Verstappen takes the lead back. Pushes Giovinazzi out of the way. Slides round K-Megs. And I think we'll have something to say about Albon very shortly too, although he's only just pitted. Up into 14th goes the Toro Rosso driver. But yeah, Verstappen leads from Bottas, then Hamilton, who's already dropped down to 3rd. Norris is doing a stunning job in that McLaren in 6th place, for my opinion. Perez has come in for fresh tyres though on the softs. And look at how much he is eating into that advantage with Norris. If I was people on hard tyres, I would pit now and come onto softs, and that's exactly what Hamilton's doing. It's dropped him down to 5th. That's exactly what Norris is doing as well. That's given Perez the upper hand. Oh. Maybe Norris will have enough of a tyre advantage to do something about it. The thing with the battle for Racing Point and McLaren is that Ocon, and there he is, Ocon's into the pits, 14th place. This is going to be crucial for the title of 4th in the positions, as here's our title duo going at it. Verstappen versus Bottas. Verstappen wants to win this race to kind of say you didn't have it all your own way, Valtteri. Doing everything that he possibly can, but Valtteri just needs to be in the top half of the field to win the championship here. But it's a great vying battle. They both came in on the same lap, so it's all about pure pace. And the way how this back straight works allows you to play with boost and slipstreaming to have a real good go, so you're never really truly far away. There's Gasly in 3rd. Leclerc's in 4th. Better tyres coming at him quite quickly. Ooh, gets it a bit wrong there with Albon. But immediately onto the back of Gasly. Leclerc would dearly love a podium to finish off his season. And I'm sure that's what Hamilton's saying as well, who's now up into 5th place. Oh, Leclerc gets that horribly wrong, and that's going to allow Bottas to have a go back through. Verstappen versus him again. Oh, Bottas gets that bit wonky wrong there. Gasly, Leclerc. Here's Hamilton with the freshest tyres of the trio. I think he could have the pair of them by the end of this race. Indeed, that's him alongside Leclerc already. Pushes him out the way, through he goes, and that's him past Gasly too. 3rd place for Hamilton before the end of the lap. That's Perez in 6th. Norris is already up into 7th. And the key here is, where is Ocon? And Ocon hasn't even caught Alexander Albon yet. This has not gone well for Esteban Ocon. The switch on to hard tyres did not work for him. Kubica's ahead of Grosjean somehow. Let's look at that. Verstappen smashing his way through the traffic, desperate to keep Bottas behind. It's been these two all season. Vettel, Hamilton and Gasly and Leclerc have played bit parts in this championship too, but it's been all about Verstappen and Bottas, and it looks like It's going to be for one final time. Bottas goes for the lunge. Well, if that's not a championship dive, I don't know what is. And look, he's on the grass trying to keep Verstappen behind. Into the final corner. Verstappen's going to get him back. Or is he? Oh, Verstappen takes the win from Bottas. Well done to the pair of them. Hamilton's going to grab third. And was right behind as well. I didn't realise that. Leclerc, Gasly, Perez beat home Norris. There's Sainz. Ricciardo, Vettel a terrible 10th. Hulkenberg gets 11 ahead of Raikkonen, or does he? That's going to be a squabble. Ooh, Raikkonen! Raikkonen gets it at the line. Wow, beats home Hulkenberg. Ocon did get Albon, but that's only 7 points, and I don't think that's going to be enough. And with Haas is Kevin Magnussen getting 15th, keeping Giovinazzi at bay. Grosjean did not pass Kubica, so Kubica gets his best ever finish of 18th this season. Let's see what the final results are. Valtteri Bottas wins the championship then. Congratulations to Valtteri. Probably be the only thing you will win of an F1 championship nature. Verstappen comes home second, well clear of Vettel third. Leclerc gets fourth ahead of Hamilton. That must be on count back through wins. I don't know if the game does that, but they've got equal points. Gasly 400 points there with sixth. Perez 7 ahead of Norris. Ricciardo stayed ahead of Sainz in the points winning positions. Ocon was at 11th ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, who did a fantastic job for 12th. Hulkenberg 13th. Albon, after a very slow start to the year, ended up 14th. Giovinazzi had a great start to the year and a poor finish, ends up 15th. Kevin Magnussen and Romain Grosjean 16 and 17. Kvyat didn't clear the 100 bar, did he? Stays 18th. Poor season all round, really. And Russell gets 18 points to Kubica's 8. And there we are on the constructors. And oof, it was close. It was very close. In fact, it was equal further down. Mercedes there wins the day from Red Bull and Ferrari. Congratulations to the Silver Arrows. Racing Point beat McLaren by 3 points in the end. So Ocon getting round Albon didn't matter necessarily, but it was helpful for them staying ahead. Renault in 6th, kind of all on their own there. Same with Alfa Romeo, 7th on their own. Toro Rosso and Haas equal points in 8th and 9th. Now Haas, I think, had a higher finish. So in theory, they would get 8th over that 9th. I can't remember. We'll have to triple check. And Williams there with 26 points and 10. And that's it. Ultimate Racing 2D, all completed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was enjoyable. Apologies, my commentary is not bang on in point. I'm still recovering from the old COVID. So I'm normally a bit more clued up and enthusiastic and everywhere with that. So take care. I'll catch you later. Bye.